Howdy folks, my name is Lance Elliott and welcome back to Let's Play Major Minor Complete Edition. It's been a week since I've played, so I don't remember exactly where we left off here. I take a deep breath as I close the door behind me. I press my back against it, resting for a moment. So Singe was relieved that he's not responsible. It's odd to be relieved in this kind of scenario, but I understand where he's coming from. We've all wallowed in self-pity before, at least he's free to use his energy in other ways. In this case, plotting with Acheron. Regardless of how I feel about Singe's current plan, I know that Acheron will keep us all safe, and talk some sense into him if he's off track. Wasn't my place to decide what they did, but wasn't my place to defy Acheron's orders either. They definitely hired the best in the business. And so 90, as if on cue, he approaches me. Saw the paramedics carry out a body bag. I was terrified, wondering who it could be, but I got a text from Singe right away. I was worried it might be you, but in light of what happened, I think some changes need to be made. Singe does not have a good grasp on things. I expect some answers from him promptly, and I expect him to put me in charge. Rocker's death was a tragedy, one that could have easily been avoided. If only putting Acheron off, Shock appears favor. What did you just say? I was just saying it's a tragedy what happened to Rocker. He's so young as well. Shock's hands turn into fists. He trembles, clearly fighting off tears. Tell me what happened. Acheron looks at me, unsure of how to respond. I shrug. Dealing with this is not my expertise. There was an incident shock like what happened to Clace. Actually, it's exactly the same. Rocker died in the same way. I guess Singe gave Acheron more info than us. Even if this was true, then the person texting me, they killed Clace. But not only that, they were the Midnight Killer, using their power from the Ark for nefarious purposes. Then, the culprit really is in this building. And with access to the power from a place like that, I shiver, utterly terrified at the implications. It's all connected more than I thought. Wouldn't be surprised if Terra was involved too. You mean, unfortunately, yes. How could you have let this happen? Me? Best in the business, perfect track record. You're supposed to be here to save us. What were you doing instead? Even know where Rocker was? Well, judging by... I don't care about judging by. Your stupid deductions won't save anyone. Two of my friends are already dead. Shock, please. Shut up. In a fit of anger, Shock throws a punch at Acheron. Ooh. ... exclamation point. Acheron doesn't move from his place. Stands his ground, reaching out a paw, he catches Shock's punch. What? Acheron squeezes Shock's fist, he trembles in pain, trying to break free. Acheron's grip tightens. Looks like Shock's fingers might snap at any second. Hey, let go. Clear that Shock is starting to panic. Perhaps he thought less of Acheron or more of himself. It's hypocritical of you to say that. ... This game never changes. Instead of releasing his grip, he tightens it. Don't place blame of this on me. We're dealing with a serial killer here. If I'm supposed to protect you, you don't want to be on my bad side. He releases his grip, Shock flies back and lands on the floor. Momentum of his attempts. He quickly pushes himself up and runs away, covers his face as if in shame. Okay, after a few moments pass, Acheron turns back to me. Fairly sorry about the scene. I have little patience for men like him, quick to anger, irrational, you know. I saw it in his eyes. He thinks I'm responsible for Rocker. There's no way that he's thinking clearly. I know it's my job to protect, but I can't be everywhere all at once. It's not fair for him to blame me. ... I'm afraid that now I'm self-conscious. Must not let his thinking dissuade me. Rests his paw on his chin in deep thought. Guess I no longer have a perfect record. Rocker was part of my job description. Not sure how to feel about this. That's usually what set me apart. Not a good thing to have on a resume. In fact, I'm certain that's why the guard before me fled. They were ashamed. Pretty sure that's the guy that Place doesn't like. I got my monitor up here a little bit. I don't feel ashamed. Instead, I feel determined. Determination! In this instance, it's become clear. The guard before me was just a coward. Yeah, that's definitely what this is about. I'm not gonna run. I never would. I'll stay strong and stand my ground. I'll stop this killer with Singe, I promise. He stares at me with fire in his eyes. I nod and give him a smile. Thanking him, the speech made me feel a little easier. Next to 90, would you do me the favor of waiting here? I'd like to talk to you further. But I must attend to things with Singe. Given the current situation, I cannot put off that meeting any longer. No offense. Untaking, debating our safety is definitely more important. I think small talk will be fading away soon enough, especially if this is my last night here. I only hope that their discussion is as fruitful. Wave him off and decide to wait around in this area. I don't think I'd be waiting too long. Acheron was definitely quick to the point. Thank you very much. I'll be seeing you shortly. With a smile, he walks off. As soon as he opens the office door, Killa comes out. Without much as a word, he storms downstairs. Acheron looks at me and shrugs. I do the same. I'm not sure what's gotten into him lately. He's been acting the same ever since this morning, since we got back from Terra. Acheron pushes this aside and enters his office. I decide it's best to stick to the plan and wait here. Kill is more than capable of taking care of himself. I don't know about that. Sprawl out a chair and close my eyes, wondering what would happen next. Convention Center, floor 1. Hill wanders the convention center by himself, seemingly against the previous instructions of Singe. Scans the room in a curious manner, as if he's looking for something, unsure of what it is. I really hope I'm not too late. Shin sure likes the sound of his own voice. Nervously presses his back against the wall. As time passes, he uses his phone for a few moments. At the corner of his eye, he notices something. Figure slowly approaches him. It's confirmation enough that he's not too late. Lets out a sigh of relief as worry washes away. No, Killa. Glad you can make it. Me too, actually. I didn't think Singe would ever shut up. He's really determined to catch this killer. Yeah, I could tell. Good thing my weapons are here. I doubt Acheron could stop them himself. He's too infatuated with Daz. Really? I didn't figure him the type. Seemed all business, no pleasure. It's hard to get a read on him sometimes. Either way, let's not waste any time. I'm glad you agreed to this meeting. Well, of course. I'd never leave someone like you hanging. Not every day that a billionaire. Just call me Max, Killa. My money does not define me. Oh, of course. I didn't mean to offend you, Max. It's okay, Killa, you didn't know, but I'm here as Max, not the CEO of Armstrong Incorporated. Fair enough. Well, I'm here as Killa, so we're on even playing ground. What do you want to talk to me about? About everything that's going on right now. Sorry for just assuming a moment ago. Are you thankful for the weapons here? I'm not sure. I know Acheron isn't, but he's also not doing his job. I mean, if he was, Rocker would be alive, right? Glad you see it my way. Your weapons didn't help either, so I can't say for sure. Sorry, Max. Wow. What a sharp lip you have. If that wasn't funny, I'd be offended. ... Singe is the only one responsible for that. He has the key to detonate the weapons. I do too, but... Detonate? Why is it bombs? Didn't have, like, drones or portal turrets or something? He bought them, so he should use them and say he's busy drowning himself in sorrow. How are bombs? Drama queen. Yes, well, Rocker's death changed that. He realized Glace's death wasn't his fault. He feels a little bit better now. Is that so? Yeah, so maybe his judgment will be more clear. So it's no excuse for Rocker, though. I'll say. Guess my weapons haven't exactly gotten a chance to prove themselves yet. I hope you give them a proper chance. I guess. I'm not going to be here for much longer anyway. Flying home later, but since what's to keep it secret? Says if the killer knows that what we're plotting, they may take rash action. Oh, really? Max smirks softly. Thank you for sharing that with me. Wouldn't want you to get caught in the fray. Yeah, exactly. So whatever happens here, I'm out. I didn't want to come here to begin with. Wow, I can't believe you said that. You must trust me if you let that slip up. I don't see why I can. I hate Tokyo. It's so stupid. Everyone is staring at me like I'm weird. Doesn't make sense for Killa, right? I know. I dug into your history a little bit. Really? Why? It's so interesting, Killa. Did you tell anyone else? I mean, the real reason you're here? No. It's probably for the best. It'd be a shame if everyone found out that you're lying to them all this time. Hey, keep that to yourself, Max. Perhaps I will, or perhaps I won't. ... I'm more inclined to keep it to myself if you were to do me a small favor, Killa. Fine. Checkmate, I guess. Well, not quite yet, but I'm afraid I have to go for now. My favor involves another meeting about 7 o'clock tonight. Are you down for that? Sure, where at? Max points down the hallway connected to the lobby. Like a door on the right. There's a small meeting room there. It'll give us much more privacy. Now, if you excuse me, I have another meeting to attend to. She disappears just as fast as she arrived. I have to open my big mouth. I guess I'll keep getting myself into trouble. Womp womp. Like to save the game? Yes. But we still haven't done anything, so I think we'll just save over this one again. And keep on going. Velquiz's throne room. Dusk. I've been thinking. You mentioned a visit to the people. That may help my public relations. Of course, Velquez, your public image is very important, especially if you wish to dispel rumors. Yes, but I've thought of something else. Oh, and what's that, my king? A visit to the people might be wrong. If I parade over them in my lavish outfit rife with luxury, they'd feel hurt. Be like a pompous display of ownership in the way I don't intend. If I need to prepare a new outfit, I could allocate the funds from the treasury, something more rustic perhaps. Maybe not fully intact with holes. That seems to be all the look with the that look seems to be all the rage. No, Dusk, I must not disguise myself. Hiding who I am also gives off a bad image. And I'm afraid I don't follow. What else could you be planning, my king? May be risky, but I want to open the doors of my castle. I want the people to come to see me. They will be able to walk these halls as if they were in their own home. So it'll give off the image I intended, that Terra truly belongs to its people and that I don't hold back from them. Really? I'd advise against that. May be subject to massive theft, not to mention your enemies may use this opening to plan an attack. Trust me, I've considered all the avenues. Let me describe my plan in more detail. Of course, my lord, I did not mean to be crass. When everyone has arrived, I will have them gather in the atrium. At this point, I will address all of them at once. I'll be fully forthcoming. This is where they will learn that I have planned for myself in the future of Terra. At that point, we'll open our grand hall. We'll have a feast for the ages. A ball that will be etched in time, and I will close by ending my reign. Can't be serious, Veloquist. It needs to be done, Dusk. If my enemies still wish to attack me after hearing everything I have to say, then I'll accept my appointed fate. For the repercussions of my death... Hold on. For the repercussions of my death will be negligible compared to what comes next. And the Swiss monarchy will come to an end, succeeded by what the people decide. However, if my plan comes to fruition, I will leave them a beautiful world, in much better shape than it is right now. The rumblings of this new Terra, perhaps they're not as off as they think. You can only hope that... Velko's groans in pain, grasping at his chest. My lord, are you okay? Here's his hand with his chest that's stained with blood. Yes, I'm fine. Sir, you're bleeding. Please not be alarmed. The old wound was reopened. I'm capable of tending it to myself. You are dismissed. Yes, of course. Please call on me if you need any aid. If it gets any worse, you must take action. Months later, Helcos leans against the wall. He grips the scepter in his hands, panting heavily. Has it stopped working? Ooh. We just saved it like 10 seconds ago. I have a feeling we're getting close to the end and still haven't like really done any decisions. I lay back as in comfortable position as I can find. My mind races replaying the events thus far as well as playing out potential futures. Just how would this end? What is my place? Even if I left Tokyo today, it might not be over. The man of the Ark might follow me, especially if my role in Terra is as I was told. In my deep thought, I failed to notice Acheron appear. He fakes a cough in order to get my attention. Terribly sorry for the wait. There was much to discuss with Singe. Bowed slightly as if in apology, but I didn't mind. I was able to use my time efficiently. Discussion was very good, however. Singe was giving me full control of the convention center and everything inside. You'll no longer be making the decisions. It seems as I've been promoted. Without further compensation, of course. My interests do not lie in monetary gain. First thing I wanted to do was launch a full investigation on the weapons here. Look at them closely and their placement. Seems like a good idea. If some of them were bombs, we should keep our distance. Or maybe there was a dead zone, a place where neither type of weapon could reach us. Of course, my curiosity prevailed. I already did a full investigation. Thought it best not to wait around. My research spawned peculiar results. Oh, I guess he jumped the gun. I asked him what he ended up finding out. Well, the weapons are moving around on their own. At least that's how it seems. What? That doesn't make any sense. Allow me to elaborate. When I first arrived, I made a mental note of all their locations. They seem to be placed in strategical fashion. Rooms that are more likely to contain a large amount of civilians or only armed with non-lethal weaponry. It makes sense. Press conference room, for example. There's also many other areas, including the lobby and boardrooms. Seems they're placed in a way that would minimize damage to innocents, but now the opposite is true. I don't know how they changed there so fast, but the lethal weapons took their place. It seems now the weapons are organized in a fashion that would maximize damage. They've all just swapped places. That's alarming. To top it all off, it's been happening right under our noses, like during the press conference. None of us noticed. But during the briefing, a bomb was planted in that room, replacing the chemical weapon that was there before. How didn't we notice? A thought sparks in my mind. It's most likely the murderer. Acheron doesn't know, but somebody with powers from the Ark could easily make that swap unnoticed. Comes with more terrifying implications. I bring it up, but Acheron quickly shoots me down. Impossible. The only people who can tamper with those weapons are Singe and Armstrong herself. Besides, Singe was on the stage. Quickly comes to a more realistic conclusion. My outburst still haunts me, I guess. I must have done it during my little grapple with Singe. A good distraction. Everyone had their eyes on us. That would have been the perfect time. But they would have done the rest while the conference continued, since nobody would have been out there to catch them. But then who did it? The deduction would mean it was Armstrong, but I asked him to reevaluate the situation from an angle where he isn't beating himself up. The only other person who could have moved them is if they had the codes. Each weapon has a special set of codes. One to disarm, one to rearm, one to detonate. It'd be easy to move them if you're strategically disarm and rearm them, but I find this hard to believe. That would imply either Singe or Max were careless enough to lose their own codes, or give them to someone in league with them. I don't side with these implications, there must be another explanation. I've always told myself that their weapons like that are not secure. It's entirely within the realm of possibility they were hacked. Either way, a distraction was needed. I'm still the one that provided this. Lets out a heavy sigh. The first of my many bad decisions. Am I coming somewhere private, away from prying eyes and waiting ears? We do not know the killer's reach. We must remain as cautious as possible. I nod. It makes sense, especially if we're plotting against them. We wouldn't want to announce our own plans too loudly. I mean, we're not staff. Not sure we should actually be doing this. Leads me down a few winding hallways. We turn quite frequently and quite fast, as if he's trying to shake someone off our trail. Once he glances back at me a few times, like he wants to make sure I'm still following. Seems uneasy, unsure, perhaps scared. I try not to let it bother me. I know by now that I'm safe when I'm near him. A few minutes of navigating, we arrive. He wanted to lead me to a dance rehearsal room. Of all the places, this is certainly an odd choice. I scan the area. The wall on the opposite side is one large mirror. Seeing our reflection staring back at us, I look like a mess. Not much time for wardrobe. Sorry for taking you so far away. This is one of the safest rooms, though. It seems they forgot to put weapons in here. Guess they didn't have enough for every room. Still, it seemed odd to us to leave out this one. Was there some sort of significance to that fact? You know how I feel about Armstrong, but this room, it's different. Feels as if I can actually focus in here. It's purely psychological. I feel like I can sense those weapons. I can hear the whirring inside of them. And it drives me mad. It wasn't always like that, though. I used to be much closer to Maxine. Of course, not that much is relevant right now. That seems pretty relevant to me. He had some reason for hating her so much. I asked him if he'd elaborate on that for me. No, I won't. Sorry, Lance 090, if I ever tell you that story, then it's meant to happen another time. Flat out denied. Well, nothing else I can do. Asked him what he actually wanted to talk about then. Well, it's no less embarrassing, so I suppose I'll say it bluntly. My track record is ruined. Well, I've been building my entire career, it's all disappeared in the blink of an eye. Clenches his fists together and trembles softly. I must have mentioned this before, but having someone die on your watch, you'll likely never get hired again. It's a cardinal sin among guards, and the last one just ran away. You can stay, you're still useful, or he left because he was a coward. Cardinal sin among guards. And why the last one just ran away. Left because he was a coward? I don't know. Those kind of seem like they're kind of the same. I suppose you're right, he acted out of cowardice, not because of how effective his job. It was possible for him to stay, perhaps own up to it and push forward. I guess I should do what he didn't. Thinks to himself as a moment, as if he pondered leaving, but now has thrown it aside. That's not my only issue, though. Looks around the room and takes a heavy sigh. This is where I was when it happened, Rucker's death, I mean. I wanted to spend some alone time with Daz. Of course, personal interest is irrelevant. I had to assume she was in danger, especially since the last victim was Clace. One star to another, right? At least that's what I had thought. But Daz wasn't a target at all. I guess the killer was after Rocker. So I could assume that Shock is up next, however that would also be a trap. They could go after Daz if she's alone. I expected to watch out over everybody, but at the same time, this is impossible. Focus on protecting the most likely targets. Keep an eye on everybody, alternate frequently. I was kind of expecting one of the options here to be like, oh, I'll watch this person, you watch the other person. You'd assume that makes the most sense, but I fear that choice got Rocker killed. It may actually be necessary. Most everybody here is still alive. The odds of choosing the wrong person, I can't go with a record where my chances of success only rise with the body count. Sorry, I had to sneeze there. Right now, the error margin is too high. I can't make the wrong decision here. Of course, correct decisions elude me. At first, I thought I could take on this job with an unbiased mind. I did mention to you that to you before, in fact. I had no prior association with this group. I wasn't affected by Clace's death either. That changed at the press conference when Singe revealed Armstrong was involved. Mount versus what caused more harm than good, especially if it was only a distraction. My choice actively caused you more damage. I can't just let go of that fact. It's eating away at me, consuming me. We'll move the weapons anyway. You know not to do that in the future now. They would have moved them anyway. Acheron liked your answer. You really think so? I nod. At least all they needed was an empty room. That's why they would have had regardless. We didn't stay in that room after the conference. Logic is sound. He smiles slightly. Under stress, things can get cloudy. An outside perspective can help immensely. This whole job just became so complex, on top of it all off personal too. There has to be something I could do. If only I could disarm the weapons, but that's impossible without the codes. Ask him if he can talk to Singe about the codes. After all, if Singe turns to them enough to give him control, he could get those codes and disarm the weapons, while a large source of the stress would instantly vanish. That's the thing. I asked him, but he didn't comply. I don't think he fully trusts me. Especially after I attacked him earlier, another reason that was a bad decision. He looks crushed as he tells me this information, perhaps because he felt it was his fault, or perhaps because he desired Singe's trust. Trust me, Lance 90? I've only ever wanted to keep you all safe. I trust you. That makes me happy to hear. I was starting to feel like I was alone. Can I ask you why? Was there something I did specifically? Because to be honest, I screwed up lots. Well, before I can even think of responding, my phone rings. I feel as if my heart stops beating. Another text message. I hope they would stop. Feels like I've woken up from a nightmare. I raise a finger, asking him to hold on. He stops talking, give me time to check. Go through a brief period of hoping it's Singe or Rook or Killa, but this hope is short-lived. Go to the lobby now. Things will begin shortly. Not sure what they could possibly mean. What was about to begin? I stop and think. Last time I got a text, they said a friend would die. I honestly put my phone back in my pocket. I storm out of the room without saying a word. Tell him, dude. Honestly, I wouldn't know what to say. I'm saying we're in trouble. So I leave the safest room in the building. It's a certain danger for both myself and my friends, simply hoping that Acheron doesn't take this personally, that maybe he would follow along in secret. Like to save the game, yes. This time it actually is a decent amount of time and a decent enough amount of choices that we can do a different save. That's all the time we had for this episode. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, remember hit the like button, keep the conversation going in the comments, and subscribe if you want to see more. Until next time, hope you have a good day.